Hello students, I am Chef Sundar Srinivasan from AISSMS College of Hotel Management and Catering Technology, Pune. In this session of Food Safety Management Systems, we will be going through planning and developing for safe products. This is a two-part series and this would be the first session. Let us understand some general points before we proceed into the sub-points. So the organization shall plan and develop the processes needed for the realization of safe products. So which means that the organization has to prepare a good plan. They have to chalk out a good plan of whatever processes that are going to be involved in their organization or in the manufacture of products, and not products but safe products. So they need to chalk out the entire process on paper, and of course they will have to practice the same. The organization shall implement, operate, and ensure the effectiveness of the planned activities and any changes to those activities. So as I said, whatever plan that is prepared for the processes for making your products or manufacturing of safe products, you need to implement it, operate it, and we have to ensure that it is effective. And while doing so, if there are any changes, you need to bring those changes into the processes and again implement to ensure that you are having the right output that you desire and effective output for a safe product. So this includes prerequisite programs or PRPs, as well as operational PRPs or operational prerequisite programs, and or the HACCP plan. So basically a good HACCP plan is desired along with, or which will include prerequisite programs and operational prerequisite programs. Prerequisite programs in my earlier sessions, if you see, they are generic, they can be common for different organizations, whereas operational prerequisite programs become specific to your product, specific to the particular operation that is going to happen in your process entire. Moving ahead, point A, we will understand a little bit about prerequisite programs or PRPs. The organization shall establish, implement, and maintain prerequisite programs to assist in controlling these following points. So basically, any organization who is into food safety management systems, they need to establish these prerequisite programs. They need to implement them. They need to check whether it is effective or not. They need to maintain these on a regular basis, and if there is any changes, update them on a regular basis. So what does this help in controlling? The likelihood of introducing food safety hazard to the product through the work environment. So when you have a correct prerequisite program in place, it will help you to identify or to prevent any kind of hazard that is going to happen through the work environment. It is one of the resources that is going to be there with any organization. We have seen it in earlier sessions. Earlier I have told about it. So anything from your work environment that could potentially be a hazard, could be avoided, could be identified by using one of the PRPs. It will also help in assisting controlling the three types of basic hazard, that is biological, chemical, and physical contamination of your products, and also includes any kind of cross contamination that could happen. So it will help in controlling this type of hazard. Also, food safety hazard levels in the food product, so in the product and product processing environment. So it will also help in controlling any different types of hazards that you could identify within the product and in the processing stages that is there in the organization, or that the line that is going to be involved in the process. It will help you to identify any kind of hazards, avoid, prevent them if you're using the right kind of prerequisite program, or if the right kind of prerequisite program is prepared. Now, prerequisite programs are required to be appropriate to the food safety needs. So it should be appropriate to the kind of food safety to be appropriate to the size and type of operation and the nature of the product. So your prerequisite program should be appropriate to what kind of operation you are going to have in your organization, what kind of product you're going to make, how big your operation is going to be. So based on that, your prerequisite program should be prepared to be implemented across the entire production system. Right? It should not be restricted to only a certain sector. It should be applicable and implemented to the entire system that you're having, not just stick to one section or one side of it. It has to be approved by the food safety team. Yes, your prerequisite programs, whatever is prepared, the food safety team must have a look at it. They must make sure that it is the right thing that they're looking out for, whether it will be appropriate, whether it will work correctly. And once they approve it, then it can be followed. If there are any changes that are observed post verification, then this should be brought to the notice of the food safety team, and then again it could be updated and then brought back into the system. The organization is required to identify statutory and regulatory requirements related to the above. So if there is any statutory and regulatory rules, norms that have to be followed in your organization which comes under the PRPs, it has to become a part of the system. You cannot evade it, or you should not evade this from your system at all. So make it a part. It will become a legal document itself, so it can become a part of your PRPs. The organization shall consider the following when establishing these prerequisite programs. So when you're establishing prerequisite programs, you need to consider or think of the following. So there are quite some over here. So we're going to just go into point wise. Construction and layout of the buildings and associated utilities. So while doing the construction or while planning, was there a good plan made for or was it thought about rodents, insects, pests? Is the construction of that type, or even maybe birds? So all these things need to be thought of. You have the lighting, ventilation, all these points would come under construction and layout. The premises layout, including workspace and employee facilities. So how much of work flow area is there? The movement space involved. So all these things would come in the layout of premises. Supply of air, water, energy, and other utilities. Yes, this is one of the requirements, an important requirement for the people who are going to work. So how you're going to manage availability of fresh air or clean water or drinking water, and what kind of energy is going to be used, all these points. Supporting services, including waste and sewage disposal. So any other supporting services that you are going to follow through or going to be use it. And also you need to consider about the waste that is going to be generated and how it is going to be disposed, and which may include even the sewage disposal. Suitability of equipment and its accessibility for cleaning, maintenance, and preventive maintenance. So what kind of equipment is going to be involved, how easy it is going to be how easy it is going to be for people to maintain it, people to operate it. Okay, and if there is any breakdown, how can the servicing be done, or the repairs, how soon can it be done, is it available? So all these points need to be thought of when you're getting into the equipment part. Management of purchased materials. So purchased materials could be raw materials, chemicals, packaging material. You might have supplies like steam, or maybe you must be having air conditioner, cool air that is required. You might require ice, so you need to check the kind of water used for ice. Disposal of your waste and sewage, just explained earlier. Handling of products. So how the products are going to be handled once they're coming into your organization, how is it going to be stored, what kind of storage is going to be required. And then post-production transportation, the logistics also become important. What kind of vehicle is the vehicle going to be maintained, how it is going to be maintained. So all these things comes into when you are going to prepare the prerequisite program. Measures for prevention of cross-contamination. So what are the different types of measures that you're going to involve or take care to prevent cross-contamination happening in the process. Cleaning and sanitizing, what kind of schedule you're going to maintain, who is going to perform the tasks, what kind of chemicals, all these points you need to think of. Pest control, very important. Regularity of pest control, the periodic pest control that is required. Again, you need to have qualified people to do it, and the various chemicals that are going to be utilized. So all points start coming into the prerequisite programs. Personal hygiene. You need to also monitor personal hygiene. You need to have rules in place for personal hygiene. So again, your PRP is going to help, and the personal hygiene will become an integral part when you're preparing a prerequisite program. So this would be another consideration. And apart from these, if you find any other aspect that needs to be involved into your prerequisite program, you can very well go ahead and prepare another prerequisite program for whatever aspect that you have identified. Now, establishing the prerequisite program. A couple of points you'll see. So verification of prerequisite program shall be planned and shall be modified as necessary. So verification of your prerequisite program has to be done at least once, twice, or whoever is in charge, the food safety team generally looks into it. They will verify whether the prerequisite program is working correctly or is it appropriate, and if it is found okay, they will put it into implementation, and as and when is there any changes, it can be modified. Records of verification and modification shall be maintained. Yes, it is always essential that whenever verification is done of your prerequisite program, maintain a record, like who has verified or what has been done to verify, how it was verified. So these records need to be maintained. And whenever there is a modification in this particular prerequisite program, we need to make sure that this modification is done, a new set of prerequisite program is prepared, and then the old one is supposed to be obsolete and the new one has to go into circulation. Document should specify how activities included in the prerequisite programs are managed. So you must have a documented procedure in place, and it should specify all the activities that are going to be done and how they are going to be handled and what are the different activities that are included in the prerequisite program. The second part in this session is primary steps to hazard analysis. Now we have spoken about basic types of hazards, and again it will be repeated again, and we will go through some basic steps or primary steps that you will require for this hazard analysis. So the success of a HACCP system depends on educating and training management and employees in the importance of their role in producing safe products. The basic idea here is everyone needs to understand their role and the importance of a HACCP system. Unless a person does not realize the importance of a HACCP system, it is difficult to move ahead. There will be no clear, there will be no clear understanding of their of one's personal, job, or maybe no idea of how important that person is at that particular job. This will not be there. Clarity will not be there. So it is important that the HACCP system is understood neat and clean by all. Okay. So for this, a good amount of training is required. So everybody needs to be trained for this, right from the top management to the employees to the lowest person working in the organization. Everybody needs to know the importance of HACCP. So this should also include information, the control of foodborne hazards related to all stages. So again, you'll be training them on aspects of what kind of foodborne hazards are going to be involved in different stages of the food chain. So it is important that you educate everyone, and especially it has to be taken up with those who are going to handle food. Okay, maybe in the purchase section or the storage section, and the preparation and finishing. So it is important that everybody is involved in this session. It is important to recognize that employees must first understand HACCP, and then they learn the skills necessary to make it function properly. Just as I just explained, that everybody needs to understand HACCP first, and then you go on to the skills that are necessary, so that you operate and you understand why that particular stage or step is going to be important. Specific training activities should include working instructions and procedures that outline the tasks of employees monitoring each critical control point. So this is the next where specific training activities, as I just explained earlier, especially for a certain area of people, you require to train them more on a particular aspect, so that they know what they're going to exactly be doing, and especially when it comes to monitoring of critical control points. Now, the management must provide adequate time for thorough education and training. Yes, it is important that the management should understand that this cannot be done overnight. You cannot tell your team or your organization that yes, I want to follow HACCP and we have to implement it in 2 days. It cannot be done. The management must be rational. They should think better. They should think good and give enough time. They can prepare a schedule maybe to give enough time so that everyone is trained properly for what is required to be done, so that a good HACCP system is developed or a good FSMS system can be developed. The personnel must be given the material and equipment necessary to perform these tasks. So management should make sure the resources that we have discussed earlier, the right kind of resources are being provided to enable good functioning of your FSMS. Effective training is an important prerequisite to successful implementation of a HACCP plan. Yes, trainings are very important and periodic trainings become really necessary. You just can't have one session and 2 sessions of training. No, the training has to be a regular affair within the organization. Continuous, information needs to be given, updates need to be given. They need to keep understanding what, how, when, so all these questions and their role that is going to be played in the organization in following the FSMS or the HACCP system. With this, we come to end of this particular session. I thank you all. Students of AI SSMS College of Hotel Management and Catering Technology can click on the link given below and attempt the quiz. These are the references that were used for this particular session. Once again, thank you all and happy learning.